Google has released their top 10 most searched athletes of 2025, and we looked at the world list and it was full of soccer players, and we were just like, boring. It's a weird list. These are all people that I suppose their level of fame jumped significantly. The athlete of the year was Shohei Ohtani, period. Google has released their top 10 most searched athletes of 2025, and I'm not sure that some of them aren't much more anonymous, much less anonymous, I guess, than Chuck Cunningham. But here's your list. Now, this is the top 10 most searched athletes in America, domestically. We looked at the world list, and it was full of soccer players, and we were just like, boring. So we're doing America here today, and you can see the list, and I don't know how many of those I would have gotten if we were playing Family Feud, quite frankly. I may have gotten Shedeur Sanders for the sheer amount that we have just talked about him on this program. Probably, I don't know, Tim. Who's the Sophie Cunningham and Shedeur are probably the two that we have talked about the most. Would you not agree?
100%. Yeah. Jalen Carter to a much lesser extent. Justin Rose for a hot minute, and I think as you're going to allude to here later, like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo flash in the pan for their 6.5 minutes of fame there.
Wow. That Jalen Carter, Hawk Tua, boy. You know, he spat on that thing. That thing in his case was Dak Prescott. We know why he's on the list. I guess we can go through here and try to, let's start at 10.
Good Lord.
Let's do this Casey Kasem style. Coming in at number 10, he lost a playoff at the Masters to Rory McIlroy and got into a little situation with Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Rose. Okay, my Casey Kasem we need to work on, clearly.
How about
Justin
that?
Rose is on the list. Well, I feel a little better now, actually, about my Casey Kasem. I'm not sure what happened there. Tim, Justin Rose is on the list because I think a couple of things. He had two moments this year. One was losing to Rory McIlroy in the playoff at Augusta and comporting himself so well in that. You know, he was such a gentleman. I think a lot of people were like, who is this nice English man? And so they Googled Justin Rose. Now, later at the Ryder Cup, he got into a little temper thing going
fisticuffs.
on. Yeah, caddies were involved in this thing.
Something like that. Yeah. It was ugly.
Yeah, so people were Googling, who is this English asshole later in the year. But when you add it all together, it evens out. And Justin Rose makes the list. Jalen Carter, I think, clearly is on the list simply because he spat on Dak. Right?
Agreed.
There's no other reason, really, unless he's been out, driving irresponsibly again. I don't recall that happening in 2025.
Yeah, and he's a surprise. Number 8. I don't know if that was just the autocomplete in your search bar that instead of Shedeur it popped up Shiloh.
Yeah,
because
can you imagine Shiloh Sanders gets Googled more than Shohei Ohtani?
That's my problem with
more than Caitlin Clark.
The whole list.
I mean, do you see what I'm talking about? Is this how does this happen? Shiloh Sanders, the Billy Ripken of the Sanders family, somehow comes in at number 8. Make it make sense. How about this? What if last year, Tim, when Caitlin Clark was basically wall-to-wall coverage on our program, remember that? I do. How about imagining that she wouldn't even be the most searched player on her own team the next year?
Yeah. What were his other expressions?
Was that Urkel?
What was his?
Was that
what were his
Urkel
other expressions?
there?
Casey Kasem.
Was how about that? What? That's Mel Allen.
Yeah, it was Mel Allen, but he would
This week in baseball?
he would end his sentence though with something along those lines. Maybe P.A. Jarrett will fire it up here. Jerry, Casey
I
Kasem was
don't
a
know.
disc jockey. People used to listen to music on a radio that was broadcast through the air. It wasn't on your phone. And he did a countdown list. But well said, man. How does Sophie make the list? I
Yeah.
would say she's a much more voracious poster, as you know, twerking in malls and everything else. So maybe the injury,
Mall
maybe the
twerker.
tough girl. Yeah, maybe the tough girl image. I don't know. But also too, when she had that lawsuit, right? There was just a lot of accusations flying before she got to the fever. So maybe that's how she's on there. But Shiloh, 100%. That's autocomplete typo. And then Jackson and Cam, I don't know, man. It's an interesting list. I'm baffled
Listen,
by it.
can you imagine? Think about it. I love the fact as we tape this right now, the New York Giants are 2-11. They're 2-11, Tim, and they've got 2 of the top 10 most searched athletes.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean,
right?
it was a glorious 15 minutes or 6.5 minutes, as you called it, wasn't it?
6.5.
Remember, do we have the picture? The swagger? Can we get the swagger photo up? When there was like 2 seconds when it was just like, oh, hell, son.
Yeah.
The cavalry has arrived. Remember that? And then they went out and blew a 32-point lead
to Denver,
in Denver.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
Broncos scored 33 points or whatever it was in the fourth quarter. They just shat the bed, and then Scattaboo got his leg rearranged. Hopefully he'll be back at full capacity. I mean, I love both of those guys. I see why people are into them. Those are 2 guys right there that, are here to have a good time, but not for a long time, because they would rather run you over. I mean, Scattaboo, remember when he was out there vomiting last year in the college football playoff, and we were all like, gosh, dang, look at this kid. And then Jackson Dart, everybody's on him saying, son, slide, run out of bounds, do something. So, I mean, if Scattaboo can come back healthy, the Giants do have something to look forward to with this duo. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that moment happened in the middle of an otherwise catastrophic year for the Giants. All right, who else do we have on this list?
It makes you question, though, some of the Google trends, I would say, too, right? Because most people now, I don't know, are using AI and not even using Google. If you believe everything you hear and read, both, internally and externally, as Jared and I have been to many different trainings and seminars. So, but it is interesting. Micah Parsons, we know why, makes sense. America's team. Cooper Flag, all the rage.
Tim, I would like to take credit for Micah making the top 10 list for this year, but I have to question why more people weren't searching Jared Jones, since I was the one who orchestrated everything there. Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
Seems
Jerry,
a little unfair to Jerry.
Keep your feet on your ground and keep reaching for the stars.
There you go.
One.
This is slowly trending in the right direction. Jared, he was also the voice of Shaggy. All right, here's my best Casey Kasem that I can sort of do. Zoinks! There you go. That was Casey Kasem. So,
Cooper Flag,
Casey
I
Kasem,
get it.
More interesting than any of these people.
Zoinks!
Yeah, the worst trade that ever fucking happened.
Crazy.
Luka's averaging 35, 9, and 9 for the Lakers, and they're trying to trade Anthony Davis. Stupidest fucking trade. I mean, I know it's a tall thing to say that something is the worst trade ever, but that is definitely on the very short list of most inexplicable trades ever.
Still
it looks worse now than it did the day they made it.
Still hard to manage. Yeah, it's still just. What were you thinking? Anthony Davis on the back, clearly on the downside of his career anyway. I think as a boxing guy, you're happy to see Terrence Crawford at number 2, and Shedeur at number 1. Look, if I'm Rob Manfred, I'm like on the horn right now with Google to get an explanation as to where's Shohei. Where is anyone from any of the World Series teams? Aaron Judge. It's interesting. Look, you could take data and split it and parse it any way you want. But I would say that you and I had the same reaction, Ricky, when we saw this list. We were like, did someone make this list up? Is it really data driven? But yeah, it's based on trends.
It's
Google
a
trends.
it's a weird list. I mean, maybe these are all people that I suppose their level of fame jumped significantly in 2025. So, maybe that's the thing. People are wanting to know, who the hell is Terrence Crawford? I'll tell you what, I knew who he was, Tim. I won over $600 that night.
Yeah,
I couldn't
man,
believe that he was as much of an underdog as he was. He went out and did exactly what I expected him to do.
I was going to
He's the
say,
best-
you said
best in the
easy
world.
money. Yeah, real easy money.
Yeah.
Listen, you know
I
who's
should have
not
bet
on this
more.
list? Who's not, and it's a travesty more so than Shohei, Asia Wilson, our time athlete of the year, does not make this list. If you could believe that.
All right. Let's talk about Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. They've only done this now 7 times, Tim. They have had Athlete of the Year. It's a new thing because I was looking at it. Asia Wilson, there you see her on the cover. She is your Athlete of the Year, the WNBA MVP and the Finals MVP, league champion. Look, that's impressive. You win the MVP and the Finals MVP, but I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander did the same fucking thing, didn't he? He did it in the NBA.
Yeah, I think his
Right,
initials.
and-
I think his initials hurt him. I don't think people who know who the fuck SGA was for the longest time.
Well, I wonder where he came in the Google Trends this year, Tim. Look, Asia Wilson, this isn't anything against her, okay? She's the best player in the league. And, again, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody is there to hear it make a sound, did it make a sound? That's the WNBA. Even now, with the boost that it has gotten and somewhat retained in 2025, no thanks to the fact that Caitlin Clark was injured for 3/4 of the season and wasn't around for the playoffs. The Indiana Fever, as we said, they made the quietest run almost to the finals, taking the eventual league champions to overtime in an elimination game, coming up short against Asia Wilson. Okay, but nobody talked about it because Caitlin Clark is the popularity of the league. Now, Caitlin Clark, some people might remember, she was Time's Athlete of the Year last year, Tim. And I remember the Washington Mystics owner, Ronnie, if he was here, would point out that she said, why can't everybody in the league be recognized? Remember when she said that the entire league should have been the Athlete of the Year? And looking back on it, perhaps the entire league should have been, so that this year they could have gotten it right. Because the Athlete of the Year was Shohei Ohtani. Period. Full stop. He should have been the Athlete of the Year. Over 50 home runs again. He had what many of us think is the greatest game that anybody has ever played in the 150-year history of Major League Baseball. In the NLCS, when he hit 3 home runs and threw 6 shutout innings, striking out 10. That's the best game that anybody has ever played in the history of baseball. Surpassing Rick Wise's masterpiece from 1971 when he threw a no-hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati and hit 2 home runs while doing it. I didn't think that we would ever see anybody do anything like that again in an era where we've got the universal DH. We've got the universal DH. Pitchers can't hit. They can barely pitch nowadays for hardly any innings. But the Dodgers, they've got a special exemption. We actually would like our pitcher to hit and lead off because he happens to be the best hitter in the entire fucking league. But he's no Asia Wilson, Tim. And by the way, in the 7 years that Time has done this, they have the winners. I'm going to see. I'm trying to remember this, Tim. Gosh, I should have written it down in my notes. 2019 was the first time, and it was the U.S. women's soccer team was the winner. 2020 was LeBron James. 2021 was Simone Biles, I believe. 2022 was Aaron Judge. 23 was Messi. And I don't mean like Lola Young. I'm so messy and I'm so fucking, no, I'm talking about the soccer player. If soccer was a real sport. And then the last 2 years, they've gone WNBA back to back. It seems to me like they're pushing in an agenda, and the agenda doesn't have anything to do with who the best person actually is, because Shohei Ohtani, at some point in the last 7 years, don't you think he should have been the athlete of the year once? It's like being around in Jordan's prime and having an athlete of the year award, and then 7 years go by and you've never given it to Jordan. It doesn't make sense to me. All right.
I have two honorable mentions
for you, Tim.
I have two honorable mentions.
Okay.
For you.
All right. Yeah.
Two
all right.
honorable
I'm ready.
mentions. Lane Kiffin. Now,
yeah.
granted, it was short-lived, and not to make light of it, I think if you were to do this, unfortunately, if Sharon had happened earlier in Michigan, I think maybe we would have seen a little more domination there as well. But surprising, there's no college football folks on there either. So, interesting set of variables. But I know you didn't have this problem back in your day. You did not have to worry about who was on what list, because we had celebrities everywhere we looked.
Celebrities came to us, via commercial. We couldn't search for them yet, Tim. We didn't know what the fuck Google was. We'd never heard of the World Wide Web. But we lived in a very celebrity-centric commercial in the way, world. And a large part of the way that we interacted with celebrities was through commercials. You go back and think about all the Miller Lite commercials and everybody that was in those. Commercials were an art form back in those days. And if you don't believe me, have a look at this. And this is one that I've tweeted before. And I imagine that the conversation in, some high rise, perhaps on Madison Avenue, went a little something like this. Gentlemen, we need a new commercial, and I'm ready to hear your ideas. Hey, boss. What if we got the guy from Alice and Pete Rose to sing a duet about smelling like a man? You son of a bitch. One day you're going to run this fucking company, Smith. Let's get Mel Sharples and Pete Rose together and see how they sound when they start crooning about smelling like a man. A man wants to smell like a man, Producer Tim. Do you think you and we should recreate that commercial the next time we're in the same location? What do you think?
I forgot Pete Rose is gap tooth guy as well. So yeah, I could play the role of Pete Rose there.
Yeah, you can be Rose. Look, I'll tell you this, Tim. Smelling like a man is going to dramatically reduce your chances of winning Times Athlete of the Year.
No agenda.
They're barely giving that award to men. 3 times agenda. In 7 years, it's gone to a man. You got a dick. You need not apply for Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year, but I digress, Tim. Today's program is brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. And, we make decisions every day. We make decisions about the presents that we're going to buy, what we're going to stuff in our loved ones' stockings, and what games we're going to watch. And man, we are coming down to the best time of the year, a lot of people might say, for watching compelling games, especially if you're a football fan. But Prize Picks has got you covered, whether you're interested in football or whether you're interested in basketball, boxing, tennis. They've even got cricket on there. Telling you right now, there's lots of options on Prize Picks, and that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. A couple of my favorite things. One, it's simple. I've got a complicated life. I don't need complicated apps. You download Prize Picks, you get in there, you look around, everything is straightforward and intuitive, and you're going to be up and playing instantly. The other thing that I like is the flexibility to control my destiny a little bit when I'm using an app and trying to parlay my knowledge into dollars. And Prize Picks gives you that. You can use a flex play, which gives you the potential of getting something wrong, but still cashing in, which is a nice perk. Or maybe you're so confident in your picks that you don't feel like you need to hedge and you're just going to go for it. And if you do that, you got that option too with the power play and the payouts. Oh man, the payouts are really nice when you go with the power play. But however you choose to play, Prize Picks is the #1 fantasy sports app in America. And I've got some good news for you. You can get in on the fun too, and we're going to make it a very fun way for you to do that. Simply download the app, sign up, use my code Ricky, and play a $5 lineup. And when you do that, you're going to get $50 in free lineups. Very simple. Simply use my code Ricky and play a $5 lineup, and you will be rewarded with $50 in free lineups with which to build your bankroll and perhaps cover some of those Christmas gifts that are going to be under the tree this year, because at Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And I would like to think that one of the most correct things that I've ever done in my humble existence is create the phenomenon that everybody waits for 5 days a week, and never more so on Friday, because we settle the score and determine who the week's champion is. So get ready, buckle in, phone the neighbors, wake the children. It's time for America's Poll of the Day, and let's go to it now at Super 70 Sports on X, where the Eagle flies high. Higher than those advertising executives were when they decided that Mel Sharples and Pete Rose were the singing duo that millions needed to hear. But let's thank God that they were high on something. Don Draper might have been involved in that. Probably cocaine by that juncture of his career. And here we are. We've got 3 champions, and we have a wild card, because I'm going to admit, very uncharacteristically, I forgot to post the poll on Tuesday. My bad, for those of you that were wondering where your daily dose of Americana was. Here's what we've got. We'll begin with Bourbon, which was Monday's winner. Tuesday, this is coming to us courtesy of Rex Crum. Rex Crum texted me. I said yesterday during the live show on YouTube that I would take audience suggestions for who the wild card should be, what the wild card should be this week. Rex Crum hit me up right after the show and suggested, among other things, pecan pie. Tim, is it pecan or is it pecan to you?
Oh,
how do you pronounce it?
You just took the words right out of my mouth. It's pecan for me, but I
All
believe
right,
pecan
it's
is
pecan.
Yes,
Where I come from. Yeah, I say Jaguars, but then I say pecan. I don't know. Does that redeem me or does that make it worse? Third, we've got Wednesday's winner, Eddie Money. He's got 2 tickets to paradise. Motherfucker. And then lastly, No Sleep Till.
Earn it. Earn it. I don't know how that doesn't win, Ricky.
Yes.
So
Well, it's going to get my vote, I'll tell you that. All right, Tim, break it down for me.
All right, so Bourbon is, I believe Bourbon's an American original. I believe I think the old sour Tennessee mash was formulated from European whiskey roots, obviously, but Bourbon, P.A. Jared, fact check me here. I believe Bourbon is entirely an American creation. Thanks to your home state, Ricky. By the way, I did not tell you this.
I'm telling you, it's what we do.
And I'm sorry I'm surprising you on the air here. I have a 9:30 call Monday morning with the Society of Kentucky Colonels. They're asking for videotape and out cues from this whole week to make their case to ship you off to fucking Tennessee to kick you out of Kentucky.
Yeah. They're going to come and they're going to take my little funny tie. It's going to be like losing your stripes.
Yeah.
They're just going to take it and yank it off of my white suit that I wear. A lot of people don't know this, but I dress like Colonel Sanders, except for when I'm doing the show. I change into the flannel and the blue jeans.
Oh, wait, the other flannel?
Before the show.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Oh, Shaken.
Yeah,
Did he do Shaken too? Did Eddie Money do Shaken? That song's in my head.
I'm gonna say he did. What was the
They
whoa,
all
whoa,
blend together.
whoa, 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 waited so long,
Waited so
waited
long.
so long.
Forget about
Yeah,
Aqua Velva commercial. We're gonna do some karaoke when you're here. We were gonna do karaoke in a Japanese bar for the start of the Cubs series when they opened in Tokyo. If you remember that idea that we
that
had.
was that was an idea. Yeah, that was a thought.
So
Man,
maybe it's
I
all
could
coming
just
to me. We should go about the streets of New York, have a cover of Asia Wilson, and have our own version of Shohei, and insist that they recount, and maybe we hit a karaoke bar and start making it happen. Book it.
yeah. All right, I'm down.
Uh, um,
Karaoke is always a good decision.
I'll give
far
you a
as I'm
20-second braggy story here. Pecan pie or pecan pie. That was Dan Rather would send when I was a member of his staff, young junior broadcast associate. He would send pecan pies to everyone on the staff, and it would come in this awesome wooden box, and it had this stamped made in Texas, like this sort of branded on there. And it was quite remarkable. In fact, classier move, he sent it to my mom. This is back when I was living at home and starting out the business working at CBS. So anytime I see pecan pie, I think about that. That's my braggy story for the day. But no sleep till Brooklyn, Ricky. What else you got?
All right, let's see here. All right, look, I'm not going to drag bourbon anymore. It's an important part of Kentucky's economy, and as a
And it
Kentucky
is an American
colonel,
invention.
I have
Jared
to,
confirming in my ear here.
yeah, I have to stand up and cheerlead for this, regardless of the fact that I still have a lot of trauma from drinking way too much many years ago back on the campus of Western Kentucky University. Pecan pie, I'm just going to tell you straight up, Tim, I've never had it.
What?
I've never had it. Never had it. And it has been a long fucking time since I've had a pecan, Tim, because I'm allergic to tree nuts.
Are you really?
We ever talked about this? Yeah.
These
If
nuts
you
or
ever
tree
want to get
nuts?
rid of me. Well,
That was a joke, obviously.
both, as it turns out. I'm very allergic
Bro,
to those
how do I
nuts,
know you
let
this
me
long?
tell you.
And here I thought I knew you.
Yeah.
You really? I didn't know this.
I mean, I don't have to carry an EpiPen around or anything, but like I noticed like in my 30s that one day I was like eating some almonds or some cashews, which were my go-to tree nuts back in the day if I was going to have them. And the inside of my mouth just started itching.
Yikes.
Like my mouth started itching and then kind of burning a little bit. And I finally connected the dots that cashews and almonds both do it to me, bro.
Wow.
So I don't even know that I've had a pecan since then. I don't want to fuck with it,
So you don't do any of the fancy
Might have to get
margaritas then?
stabbed in the chest like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. What was that?
I do have a plastic knife in my hand, Ricky. I said so.
What did you say about margaritas?
That's why you don't do any of the nutty, fancy, wacky, toasted, whatever almond margaritas. You just go straight margarita.
Well, I didn't even know that those were things. Is that an option?
Again,
Can you get
other
toasted
thing-
nutty?
So you got to reply to that email. Make sure you have an expense account for when you get to New York next Friday. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, all right.
I don't think
No Sleep Till Brooklyn is my vote, Tim.
Let's fire. Let's see what we got.
I got to go with who's your favorite Beastie Boy, by the way, Tim?
Yeah.
We've all got a
Adam Yauch.
favorite.
Yeah.
Me and you both, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. MCA
Yeah.
was my favorite.
He was awfully original. Bourbon's still going to take it. Oh, a pretty respectable
All
showing.
right, Bourbon is advancing to the Why Not tournament here. Second place, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. No shame in second place, I suppose. Eddie Money trying to hold off pecan pie, Tim. And that's the first time in the history of the world that anyone has ever said that sentence. Eddie Money trying to hold off pecan pie. And if somebody has ever said it before today, I would really love to know the circumstances of
That's what makes this
their
program so
conversation.
unique. That's what makes this program so
I'm
unique.
telling
People
you.
need to like, comment, and subscribe, people. Let's go. Get with the program. We have a
Yes.
flow code now. Let's
For
make it
heaven's
happen.
sakes. Yeah, let's get that QR code up there. Don't forget, drop a like, leave a comment, leave multiple comments. Make a habit of leaving comments, but most of all, subscribe so that you don't miss anything that we post at the Ricky Cobb Show here on YouTube. We are dropping content daily, and if you are of a certain sensibility, of a certain age, of a certain interest level in sports and pop culture and remembering some of the things that we like to reflect back on, I think that you're going to find that we hit the spot. So subscribe, follow us, and jump right in and participate, because this isn't a show that we're speaking to you. This is a show where we're speaking with you. So the more that you guys jump in and contribute, better we like it. It's a show by the people, for the people. And you, my friends, are, of course, my people.